remember you were watching Ross and I fight one day, and I believe Ross did a cheap shot, and I just simply smiled and bowed out and was not going to let it go farther than that. And it wasn't because I was afraid, it was because I was not going to allow him to disrespect my skill, or I should say our skill. I always try to make everyone understand and gave everyone a key to make them feel that this is your skill. It's not my skill. It's everyone's skill. And that's one thing I think is important.
Yeah, and that, he was trying to engage your ego. He wasn't able to. And cheap shots, that's the technique of a bully.
Right.
And the flip side of a bully is a coward.
Right.
So, and I'm sure he's come a long way. I hope he figured that out, but, can't get here from there.
Well, he was in shock, actually, that I fought a boxer. He said, didn't believe me, because I switched into, after that, actually, I said, you know what, I'm not going to do non-contact anymore. I said, this cheap shot stuff doesn't work for me. That's when I went into, similar what you're doing, I went into contact, and it makes it more realistic. It brings your chi level higher up, and actually you get less injuries because you don't have to worry about the cheap shots. So with that note, tell us a little bit about your workshops and what you're doing now.
I had opened that little dojo in Carmel Valley, remember? And I was training. I had just been awarded my black belt by you, and I opened this little school as a way of learning how to teach, for one thing. And I wasn't quite clear about, I knew that I was on the path that I needed to be on. I just wasn't quite sure where it was going yet. So this guy and his girlfriend came into the dojo, and she was wanting to train. And he was a great big guy, was not wanting her to train. And not wanting to upset the balance of power in their relationship. So he starts throwing techniques at me. I'm thinking, well, I'm going to be nice here, and so I responded in form until he had me back against the wall in my own school. Then all of a sudden, the switch flipped, and it was as though the part of me that I've been training to get to all those years, all the information you gave me, all the physical training, it just turned on. And all of a sudden, this guy was on his butt on the floor, and I nailed him in the chops with the sidekick and knocked him out. And I thought, well, there it is. That if I can teach other people, and at that time my focus was women, to flip that switch, to go from condition white to condition red, boom, without hesitation, then I'm going to save a lot of lives, and that's what I want to do. So that's when I moved to Los Angeles, opened the security company, got to train with Dan and Dos Santos, got the security people, unlike you, bless your heart, having your security force. I got to pick mine, and there were ex-Delta Force, there were ex-SEALs. We got to train with the SWAT team, even though they're not supposed to do that. We got this guy to come in to teach us some weapons training, and some of the best martial artists on the planet were there then.
And what was the name of your company then?
Aegis Protective Services.
Okay. And wasn't the A team your primary?
They were, Stephen Cannell was our primary client, and we were bodyguards for the A team.
Okay. And how did that work out? How was Mr. T?
He's a sweetie. He really is a sweetie. I mean, he comes off as a bully, but he was always very kind to me, and a gentleman. I mean, his video image is, bad black guy, and he's a good guy.
Well, I noticed lately, I'm seeing a whole new side on him since he defeated cancer, and seeing like a really gentle side of him that a lot of people never really had a chance to see.
Well, it wasn't the image they wanted to project. They wanted him to be not a good guy.
Right.
So, and and to finish that story, the guy in my dojo here sat up, shook his head, and said, "Well, Pat, maybe you should train." So I gotta give him a little credit. and I love what I do.
And you're still studying.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you met. I didn't finish the story with Pat. My Tai Chi teachers here. I tried to take Tai Chi. Doug's when I was doing my smorgasbord training at school. And I took one class, and this Tai Chi instructor looked at me and he said, "Go away." I said, "Okay." And then I met Pat here about a year and a half ago at a Chamber of Commerce mixer, and we just kind of looked at each other and talked to each other. She started training the same year I did. She started very traditional Tai Chi. So I started studying with her, and I said, the only thing that I need to know, because it doesn't compel me in terms of my energy. Do you understand the martial application?
Which is very important. You know how many Tai Chi instructors think it's only for health? Many Tai Chi masters, or most Tai Chi masters that were real masters, and 150 years ago were the most fierce masters walking in China.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that. Concentrating your energy and focusing this movement, and they don't understand. I'm concentrating, ripping on the throat here.
That's
I'm
exactly
doing it,
right.
and people think, oh, there's gentle art
pretty?
and all this, and when I hear people saying, oh, you know, the art you study is a killer art. I study Tai Chi. I said, well, do you study Tai Chi that teaches you how to do combat? No. I said, well, you aren't really studying Tai Chi.
No, you've got to understand the martial application. And yes, it is good for your health. I mean, she's taught me about the theories of how it strengthens the internal organs and all that, but never everybody said, what does that mean? Because it had to make sense to me that way. I can go do a yoga class or, for exercise that. And what she taught me that I wasn't able to learn 30-something years ago was the pacing, that to increase my range in terms of slow fast. Because everything that I've combined in the workshops that I teach, basically it's get in there, get on them, stay on them, get the job done.
Speed.
You've got a half
Speed,
second.
accuracy.
Yeah. The philosophy is simple. It's based on physical law. That if I'm in striking range, you know this, I learned it from you. If I'm in striking range, and I initiate, and I don't telegraph, and I go for primary target area, you can't stop me. It's inside normal human reflexes.
Exactly.
So it's a half second in time, inside normal human reflexes. So little me doesn't matter how big it is, as long as I'm obedient to those laws. You can take anybody out. I've seen it time and time again. The littlest ones, like the last workshop, this little 14-year-old girl got in there, got a palm strike in, and lifted Joe off the ground, and man, you should have heard his head hit the ground. Because her timing was impeccable. She didn't, and this is, I think, the thing that's most important to me to teach. She didn't doubt herself. She didn't equivocate. No excuses. No hesitation. She trusted herself. She trusted herself.
And isn't that important at a young age for women? I mean, anyone, but especially women. Aloha, I'm Grandmaster Mcleod, and I would like to talk a little bit about different styles and different martial arts systems. Make sure that the instructor is well enough trained that he can teach you on katas, techniques, and street fighting, theories, concepts, ideas, and being able to change from them if the situation changes, such as the environment. If the instructor can't give you those answers and he's not adaptable, then I would not recommend studying under such an instructor.